Welcome to the Volpe Create Show, the weekly talk show where we discuss video games, game development, and the games industry. I am Chris Volpe, your host, joined as always by baby girl on my lap, and Lucas running the show here. Lucas, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How about you guys?
Good. You had a busy day today. It sounds like busy morning.
Yeah, just a bit. Had a class or two, but other than that, I am doing great.
All right.
Good.
And
Good.
we've got our special. Oh, baby, you want to get down? All right. We've got a special guest today, Alex. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So you and I have known each other for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years maybe.
Mhm.
Time doesn't mean anything anymore. So,
Yeah.
But I think we met because you had an interest in, you live in Columbus with us,
Yeah.
and you had an interest in the video games and growing a game community, and we kind of chatted about some stuff. And I think you've managed to grow a pretty successful one. You've been doing streaming. You've got some groups. You got a Facebook group. I think you do some stuff on Discord or whatever. So
Yeah. Trying to spread it around,
yeah. So what? Before we get too far into this, like, what got you started, like, wanting to do all this? I mean, you've got you've got your avatar tag back there, and is that an actual? Or is that
Neon?
a fake neon light?
Yeah.
Or is that
Yeah.
a
That
real?
does not get hot. No, that would burn down
Okay.
the wall.
Oh, like, that'd be awesome if that was a real
It would
neon
be,
light.
right? But no, yeah, I've always, so growing up, I used to, video games was like, I grew up in a strict household, so video games were like a privileged thing I could get very little of, but I always been interested in video games, in the video game industry. So about 6 years ago, I actually created the MrM3lee page and was like, you know what, I'm going to tweet and retweet and talk about gaming news and the industry at large. And then once the PlayStation, because I've always been a console gamer, I'm sorry, but once the PlayStation 4s came out, they had the ability to share content so easily, and that really got me into creating content out of my gaming experiences, and that led me to wanting to stream with that content. So I dabbled around on YouTube and Twitch, and I've tried all of them. And then because I owned a business on the side with my best friend, we do social media marketing, content creation, all kinds of stuff. So I wanted to take the knowledge of the platform from Facebook and combine it with my hobby of gaming and streaming now, and that's where I found the most traction. And I've just been loving it. I love it. I love to geek out about gaming.
Awesome. Well, I think
Yeah.
you're on a good show then for it. So are you still predominantly doing console games, or are you doing PC
Yeah,
streaming now?
yeah, I'm getting yelled at every day by my gaming PC friends that thank God for crossplay, and it's not in enough games, but it does allow
Yeah.
me to play with my PC friends. But yeah, I can't, man, the keyboard and mouse is so strange to me. I just I love the feedback, especially with PS5. You got the vibration feedback. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah, I don't have a gaming PC. I realize that hurts my nerd street cred, but I haven't had one for a long time just because just end up getting busy. Like, we've got
Yeah.
PCs and stuff for the business that we use to test on and whatnot. But I just never, after I stopped, I just never got around to it because I used to play, like, tons of games on the computer,
Yeah.
like Diablo 2, tons of first-person shooters, all that stuff. And then I just got busy with school and life.
Yeah.
And then when I started redoing some streaming and stuff, yeah, the PlayStation, just the share button was
just
so
revolution.
easy.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna gripe, Mr. PlayStation, if you're listening here. It drives me crazy how you cannot take, when you're streaming and you
Mhm.
have the camera on showing you
Yeah.
can't take it off the screen you're playing on.
Oh, yeah, you have to see yourself play the game you're
Yeah.
streaming. Yeah.
I was like, I can't that be put on as it's streaming out as a post effect?
Right.
Because, like,
Yes.
I need to see what's on the screen. I don't need
Yeah,
to see
in
me.
the
I know
corner, I don't know.
I
Yeah.
know what I look like, but, like, some of these HUD elements are a little important,
Yeah.
So I've been kind of going back and forth when I do my game club project
Yeah.
and some other stuff where it's like, should I show myself? Should I not show myself? I have a green screen where I can cut myself out, and that's actually a question. The game club game this month is Horizon Zero Dawn, in prep for Forbidden West.
Yeah.
So I got a friend who's going to come over. We're going to go run at the gym, and then we're going to play a couple hours of that. Excuse me.
Good.
And so I'm debating, like, should we be on the screen or should we not?
if you've got both of you in there, that's entertainment right there.
I know. See, that's the thing, but like, it just drives me crazy because I don't know. I'm an older school gamer. You know, I'm 40 now, so I've been playing games a long time, and like, I want to sit in a chair and watch a big screen and play my game, right?
Yeah.
And like, I don't want myself on it. I don't like the idea of playing a game like Horizon on like a phone or a tablet. I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you
No,
people
I'm
doing?
against that too. Yeah.
Is this where society is going? No,
Yeah.
no.
Mobile game. Oh no.
But like on Games Pass, like that's just a
Yeah.
thing, right? And even
Mhm.
Sony, you can use you can connect the PlayStation controller and play it on an iPad.
Right.
So I mean, if you're on the go, right?
Yeah.
That's a
You
thing.
take
But,
gaming with you. Yeah. That's what they want to do. They want to put gaming everywhere. So that's, I mean, for those who can't, or they, it's kind of like the idea Stadia had. Nobody likes Stadia, but the truth is, it's like to have that cloud-based engine where you can have a 3080, right, out of your tablet. That's, I guess for some people that would be the solution.
yeah. Do you have what is it? PlayStation Now? Do you have that?
Yeah, I do actually. It's
You
not
like
as
you
good
like
as
it?
Game Pass. Not
Okay.
really.
Okay.
There's the rumors that they're revamping it to keep up with Game Pass, but yeah, in comparison to Game Pass, no. But I will say what's nice is on PS5 they do the PS Plus collection, and you get
Yeah.
access to like the best sellers for free, and they download and stuff, and that's great. But yeah, PS Now is not as good as Game Pass.
Oh yeah, totally. I think I mean, not that this needs to be the love PlayStation hour here, but it can be.
Yeah.
But when I got my PS5 and I saw that they had that collection of, I mean, those are like top tier games
Yeah.
that you get to play on your PS5. I was like, this is awesome because
Yeah.
my friend, the same friend I'm playing games with today, he's like totally new to the gaming space.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, this is exciting. You get to show them all
yeah,
the stuff.
so
Yeah.
he got a PS5, and then his first console
Good for
was a
him, first of
Switch.
all.
Yeah, his first
He's got
console was
good
a
luck.
Switch. He was gonna buy a PS5 from Scalpers as he saw me play it. I was like, dude, don't just wait, just
Right?
wait.
I know.
Now he has a Switch, a PS5, and a Series X. So
He's
like,
diving full in. He's like, give
yeah.
me it all.
So like that's like a new take on gaming, right? Like he
Yeah.
just doesn't have like the background that you and I have. So I
You know,
love listening to him talk.
I was just about to say, I
Um,
bet his opinion would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and everything's sort of just like new to him, but he's really in love with Zero Dawn, so we're gonna play that. But I know you, from what I've seen, you're like really into the first person shooter,
Yeah.
competitive multiplayer. Is
Yeah.
that your bag?
I'm telling you right now, it is. I've fallen in love with this game called Hunt Showdown, and it's got like it's just easy enough for new players to grab, I think, and just difficult enough to master. So it's like it's got this like permadeath feature where you really want to make it out alive, kind of like a Tarkov in a way. And so
Okay.
yeah, and it's but like I said, it's got a simplified like loadout system. I think that's compared to some other games where it's harder to get into that entry. But yeah, man, I'm loving that, and the theme being like 1895 Louisiana. Like you don't see that many games do that often, so it's
Oh,
kind of
totally.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only time that you're really in that area in that time period that I can even name would be Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, where
Yeah.
you're fake New Orleans.
Nolans.
I love New Orleans. That's a great city. One of my favorite cities. Yeah. And before that, I think you were doing some Battlefield, some Call
Yeah.
of Duty.
First
So
person
you,
shooters, man.
yeah, you really just like throwing yourself into the grinder, huh?
Yeah, so that's the thing. And it's probably not best as the algorithm would want. Being a variety streamer it has its benefits, but also it has its downfalls because everybody's like, "Oh, we love you playing Battlefield. We don't really care about Hunt Showdown so much." You know what I mean? And then some games it's better too to involve the community. When I run Hunt Showdown, it's only a 3-person squad. But if I run something like Battlefield or something like Hell Let Loose, we can have 6 people join us and then I'll have a good time. But yeah, man, first person shooters are my thing. It was the one thing I wasn't allowed playing growing up, and now it's the only thing I like playing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to the streaming, like what is your goal? Obviously you want to grow an audience. Like everybody wants to grow an audience kind of as a goal. But I assume that's not your primary goal, right? Like what are you really trying to achieve? Or what do you like doing when you're streaming?
Yeah, so there's two thoughts I have when I started this. It was I wanted to create when I originally created MrM3lee, it was to be like a news source, like retweets and commentary on gaming industry before I started streaming it. And then I started Columbus Gaming Community, which is my online gaming community, and then MrM3lee, and they intersect a lot, but they're separate. I thought Columbus Gaming Community, my idea was to learn, play, connect, share. That's the tagline for the group. So it's an area of interest for gamers to come together, learn about their favorite games, learn about streaming, first starting, that kind of stuff. And then MrM3lee, the community is all about interaction, which, so I don't know if you've done VR yet or Oculus, but I have one. I love VR, but the problem I have with the VR is the fact that I am taken away from my community. There's a disconnect because I'm in VR. And I know if I get a better graphics card, I can do PC VR and I can still see chat and that kind of thing. But a huge thing for streaming for me, and the reason why I have my camera on and stuff, is interaction while gaming. Like just talking with other gamers, playing with other gamers, and having that one-on-one interactivity and the ownership people feel with the group that's supportive of them. It's what I get out of it, because it's like anybody can watch anyone playing any game at any time. That's just so when people choose your channel to spend their time, like I feel like that's something I earn, and I want to continue to earn that. And so you're saying, yeah, everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to grow that community. But I was like, I want people to find a positive place to learn, like watch someone playing their favorite game, or like feel like they could say, how do you do that? Or what are you doing? Or hey, can I play or whatever? So, there's all kinds of things I've learned, and I'm still learning every day. I mean, this industry is changing constantly, but that's
Totally.
yeah. This has been always a hobby, always part time for me. I have my business that pays the bills, but then this has always been like, hey, I do this anyways. I love playing video games, and I want to share that with people.
Sure. Yeah, the only game I play that's kind of community focused, well, maybe not entirely, but like I play Path of Exile a lot. Like that's my jam right now.
Yeah.
I'm totally into, it's a Diablo-like game. I play on hardcore, so I get when you die, you're dead. You lose all your stuff. And in Path of Exile, it's a little nicer because it takes your hardcore character and kind of puts it into standard league. But I just instantly delete it. Like if it dies, I just get rid of it because
He dies. Yeah.
Yeah, the hardcore is what I'm interested in. It gives you a certain sense. But all the other games I tend to play. What was that?
Pride and accomplishment. EA quote gives you pride and accomplishment.
Well, it also I get why people don't want to do it, right? You don't want to put a ton of effort in. You don't want to spend like 30 hours on something and then it's like
you just want to break your death.
Yeah, but there's those moments when like you get like this close to death and you're like, oh god, and you realize you're in trouble, and like hardcore gives you that rush, that excitement. I had
fight or flight,
Yeah, there's a new Path of Exile League started a couple days ago, and so everything's kind of new. The mechanics have changed a little bit, and so nobody really knows exactly what's going on. And I've only been killed a couple times where it was like real close, real close, and that's exciting. But all the other games I play are like generally first, like story-driven, not multiplayer games. And they're games that like I kind of want to be in the moment.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm always struggling with the streaming side, because like the last thing I want to do when I'm playing Last of Us Part 2 is like feel like my attention is being diverted towards chat or whatever.
Right.
So that's a struggle that I've had, but the genre of games you tend to be into, I think, can really feed on that.
Exactly. There's that. Yeah. And I totally understand, man. Sometimes some weekends I disconnect and I play some single player. I have my backlog and I'm in it and I love that experience. But you're right, when you're trying to stream, you're like constantly checking. You're not able to stay in that as much.
Yeah, and that's what you mentioned, the backlog. That's why I created Game Club, which is a Facebook group. It's I should know this often. Facebook.com/group/join Game Club if you want to join.
Yeah.
But I just had this giant backlog of games. Particularly, you mentioned PlayStation Plus. You're getting a couple free games every month.
Right.
And like, I just got a bazillion of them. So I was like, what if I created a group? Yeah, that's like a book club for games. Where
hey, gentlemen. I don't mean to interrupt you. We actually got a question in chat from the Lone Gilly. He asked at M3lee, what's the move you're going to make to grow and thrive your community?
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Nice.
That's a great question. So
think about that just real fast before you answer. For those watching, if you go to volpecreates.com/discord, you can also join us in the Discord group, and we'll take your questions there and be able to chat with you. So Go ahead, Alex. Didn't mean to jump on you.
No, you're fine. So growing a community is always challenging, and you're gonna put effort in things that don't return the same diminute. Like you're gonna put your blood, sweat, and tears into this if it's a passion project, and then it's gonna get 5 views. Like that happens sometimes. The best way to grow a community though is to communicate. Honestly, communicate. Because if you show and be yourself, I know people say that, but it's so. What I would do is continue to be myself, continue to communicate. One of the things too I'm reaching out to is now that I've built myself on a platform and I've been making videos, making edits, I'm improving my skills in these things, start reaching out to creator programs. There's a lot of creator programs out there that allow you not only give you some tools, but maybe give you an edge and grow in your community around that creator program. Like Capcom did one recently. And there's programs for everything. If you use a specific platform or app, there might be a creator program as well within there. But trying to reach out and grow your reputation in the gaming world, I think brings notoriety back to your channel and back to your opinion and every time you get that, someone asking a question for the first time, you get that chance to capture their audience. Like maybe they agree with you or maybe they don't, but you have that moment to kind of shine right there. So like communicate, reach out to these developers, follow them, start talking with them, and then try to build a notoriety for gaming. And keep the biggest thing you can do to grow a community though, as far as the streaming goes, is your consistency. If you can nail down a couple times a week that you can stream, stick to that as much as possible. Even if it's just a day a week or whatever, just stick to that time as best you can every week and get that routine going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. So this is the 4th episode for the Volpe Creates show. Something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make it Friday, 1 p.m. So it's something that like people can watch while they're at work or on their lunch break or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which does make it a little difficult getting guests on sometimes. But like, it's the middle of the workday. I was like, just come on. You'll be
Friday. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, your boss will be fine with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, consistency. And I do like what you said. So thinking about, we have created our local game group, which is called COG, Central Ohio Game Dev Group, thecog.com. If you want to join that, you don't have to be from Central Ohio. And then we also have GDEX, which is our expo, which is year 10 this year, if you can believe it.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So thegdex.com, if you want to check that out. Tickets just went live a couple days ago.
Yeah, all that.
But we grew that out of, literally nothing. Like we grew it from literally the ground, right? Planting seeds in the dirt. And a big part of what I've done is to maintain a understanding of what the community is, make it welcoming and inviting. And this is, as you get larger, this isn't really generally an issue in the beginning, but as you get larger, realizing it's your responsibility to cultivate expectations and what's appropriate. So whether that's through having mods on your channel, or in our case with a big expo, we set up rules and we have, people, volunteers and stuff on site. But you want to make sure that everybody knows what the expectations are and what acceptable behavior is, so that you can grow that. Because the last thing you want is somebody new coming into your world, excited for your community, and then they have a bad experience. They have a bad time. So those are a couple great things. But like, how do you feel? The low question maybe, but how do you feel your community growth is going? You've been at it for what, about 2 years now?
2 years, yeah. And so Facebook changed the way groups work, and so it used to be a closed group, and you would have to search for it and find it, and that's just how the groups were. And then they made public groups, so now like the biggest thing is like chaining your public group to areas of topics, so that if anyone searches for it, your group's suggested by them by Facebook. And the only thing I have is that the first time they want to interact is that they get asked for review. But turning it public has actually helped a lot of people jump in, because when you share like something trending in it, like a meme or something, even if it's from another page and it ends in the group, that will show up and be suggested in people's feeds, even if they're not a part of the Columbus gaming community. So that alone has helped the group grow a lot. But it's funny to see where the group and community grow from. Like sometimes you post something, you think it's funny and it doesn't do well. And then sometimes you post something that you're like, yeah, that's funny, whatever. And then it goes and it blows up and you're like, wow. And different communities grow differently. My Facebook community is growing, but like over on TikTok, it's exploding. And then over here, it's like I'm trying to like a watering can, just like sprinkling a little bit of water on every community.
I don't know if you know this. Bad Movie Night is this thing we created. It's been probably 15 years now, where we go and grab like old bad movies and
Oh, I love
we
that.
show them. We show them in a movie theater, and we'll usually cut them and we'll take like weird stuff from YouTube and like old ads from the 80s or like like some of those things like Arnold Schwarzenegger did an ad in Japan for something, and we'll like mix it all together. But I remember back to what you're saying about being funny. There's sometimes where like I'll spend like an hour on something where I was like, this is awesome, this is hilarious, and people are like, oh, that was funny, and then like some fart joke you threw in as like a last
Yeah.
thought ends
You're
up
like,
like the theater erupts in it, and you're just like, oh my god,
yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you just like you can't
Overthinking or
win,
something.
yeah,
Man, I don't know. I don't know.
because yeah, you never know what people are going to gravitate towards
Screaming
in fun.
internally.
Yeah. Yes, the Facebook thing, because both I've got Game Club and I've got Music Club, and then I have Vestidio, which is my investing finance group. All of those I started as private, and then they changed the things, and I don't know if I can. I don't think you can switch a private to a public.
You can.
You can.
Yes, I can help you. Yeah, because that's
Okay.
what we did. We were a closed or private, and then when that option went, they're like, "Do you want to switch it?" I was like, "Yeah, get as many people in there as possible."
All right. So maybe it was in the olden days where you couldn't switch from a private because they didn't want people joining a private group and then all of a sudden it became public or whatever. So that's good to know. And yeah, you've got the whatever it is, they have to answer questions or whatever to
Yeah, you said and that's kind of like what you were talking about, certain expectations of what's okay in the community, and so of course you don't want to hate bullying or hate speech, that kind of stuff. Be kind and courteous because you want it, like you said, it's vital to capture them on that first impression. Like make sure it's an inviting, welcoming place that you can talk no matter what your platform or what your play style or whatever.
Hey,
yeah,
hey, gentlemen, don't mean to interrupt again. We actually have another question. So, from the Lone Gilly, how often do both of you play with your community or viewers? Do you guys do like randomly do events where you interact with them more?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a great question because I have a struggle with that where it's just I can't get enough people through. Like I'm trying to well, I'd love to play this with you and I'd play this with you. And as I get bigger, it's harder to judge that. But it's one of those things that it's a great question. I should add in where it's like playing with community days. Like you do a special day, and pick that and just rotate partners on Warzone or whatever. And that would be a great way to do that because there's some people that I'm like, I'd love to play with you. I just don't have time. And when you build a normal squad that can work on your schedule, when you have to play these multiplayer games, you just run with that crew all the time. And it's like, it'd be nice to actually get some people through,
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Good question.
Yeah, I think if you want to have that sort of experience, then thinking through the best way to organize that, and ideally trying to start it off early so you kind of have that down to a science, before you get too big.
Yeah.
When stuff starts to get crazy, I want to jump back real quick to VR. Are you interested in the PlayStation 2 VR?
Oh, heck yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw they've been like dripping out information about it, over the past year or whatever. My guess is probably COVID has a lot to do with it. They're not prioritizing, manufacturing of that. They're trying to get as many PS5s out as they can.
Right, they're even making more PS4s. That's that's how crazy it is. That's nuts.
Let's put a pin in the VR thing because a lot of people. So I teach classes, and we talk about the history of games, right? And the PlayStation 2 is the best-selling console ever. So far, there's a couple that are hot on its heels.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that, like, the PlayStation 2, they were manufacturing those up until like 7 years ago or something.
Isn't that crazy? They were still making them.
Yeah, they were still. So they were making them for like almost 20 years because people all over the world were buying them. So I don't think that the PS4 being manufactured today, it's probably another 4 or 5 years of PS4s coming down the pipeline.
I feel like we're just starting to see, especially with the COVID affecting delays, like we're just seeing these experiences you need next gen for. Like I feel for the longest time, everything's coming out on both platforms. You can't get a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. We're just starting to see the first exclusives to platforms where you have to get that bar of entry. But for the most part, it's still not here. Like delays with COVID and everything else.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sony announced like a couple weeks ago that the PS5 it just outsold the Wii U's like entire lifetime sales,
We're
and it's
talking
like
about the Wii U, though. Is that really?
yeah, the Wii U. Oh, man, there's such good games on the Wii U.
Right.
It couldn't
Yeah.
get its stride. But that's kind of mind blowing that like it's still selling this fast with COVID, with manufacturing issues. And you
Yeah.
think, and yeah, a lot of people just can't. I got a friend I play games with. He can't find it. He's on the PlayStation list, and he's just waiting for that email. I was like, I told him if I get the email, I'll
Jump
let him
on it.
have mine.
Yeah.
But back to the PSVR, we got sidetracked. They released the specs, and it's a pretty beefy system.
That
And
wide view and everything.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited for that. Like I said, I've got my VR setup back here. I've got the PSVR back here on my PS4, but then I have the Oculus, and I tell you, that's what it's got to keep up with. That Oculus being portable, I can just take it wherever, and it
yeah,
plays without cables if you want it, and it's good.
yeah. We use the Oculus Quest 2 a lot at work. Yeah, the headsets are getting lighter, more movable. Because yeah, the last thing you want, you're like spinning in a circle and getting tangled up in wires and like tripping and falling and whatever.
Yank your PC off the table.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So yeah, I'm excited. Do you think VR's is that the future of gaming, or you think that's just
I don't
a
know.
cool thing, or
If they can fix how people well, the biggest thing with VR is you have to try to experience it. There's no way to like see it. So everyone's got to try it somehow for the first time to like really get sold on it. Now you might have friends that push you to buy it, but it's like you got to try it for the first time and then you're like hooked, if you like it. The other thing too is the motion sickness. The technology's still developing, higher refresh rates, better clarity, better wider view. That'll help, I think, a lot of people's motion sickness. I get motion sickness. I feel like an old gamer when I'm like, oh guys, I gotta stop. Hold on. you know.
I totally do. We had this game at GDEX, this horror game, like 3 or 4 years ago, and at GDEX, I'm running because I'm helping run the show, right? I'm all over the place. I'm running around like crazy.
Yeah.
I
try
try
to track you down. You're like, well, we haven't seen Chris.
I try to play as many games. There was when we first, it was like the second year. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make it a plan to play every game at GDEX. And after a few years, there were too many games, and I became too busy that I just couldn't do it. But I do try to at least walk by and say hi to people. But there was this one horror game that everyone was talking about. It's like, you gotta go play it. You gotta go play it. And so I went there, and it was a VR game, and I was like, oh man. I was like, all right, I'm in. But the thing is you had a controller, right? Left stick moving around, and then you can look around because it's a VR headset. But they didn't disable the right stick to also look.
Ooh.
So as soon as because I was just testing the buttons, right? Like you do as a gamer, you test the
right.
controller.
What's this do? Yeah.
So the second, like instantly, as soon as I moved the look button and my head was like going a different direction, my brain just broke and I got like instantly nauseous. And I was like, I went through for like maybe another couple minutes, and then I had to take it off because I was like, I just can't do it. And that might be an older thing, or I'm just not used to it, or what. But
I do think my tolerance gets better as I use it, but there's still that, like you said, this time where you like, if the controls like, I know a popular shooter that we play is called Onward. They don't even have that stick enabled. Like you have to move yourself, and which doesn't make me sick. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a really cool game. It was a student project that came to GDEX, and it was using like the old Oculus Rift setup. So you had like the 8x8 grid, 8 foot by 8 foot grid. But the way he designed the areas, you were like constantly kind of like moving in and around, and it gave you the impression of being in this like larger space.
Oh, that's awesome.
But the way he designed the levels, you never left like the 8-foot grid.
Really?
Yeah, it was really awesome because it wasn't. You never got the sensation like you were walking down a hallway and then you were going to hit a barrier. Like you'd walk down a hallway, he would have a wall there, and then like. But after a couple minutes, you just felt like you were in this space because of the way he constructed the level. It was really cool, and it was a student project that I don't think he ever turned into anything else. But it was really neat. So I'm curious where VR is going to go. One of the things I talk about whenever I talk about VR is like this is not the first time virtual reality has been a thing. Like VR has been in and out of existence since I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is the first time where like some of the world's largest corporations are putting in a ton of money. You know, you've got like Microsoft, Sony, Facebook, Valve, HTC. Like there's big companies putting a lot of money into this like never before. So I think if it's ever gonna become big, now is the time for it to happen.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
I think this pandemic has helped that. I think VR's exploded during this pandemic. Trapped inside, and so they're like, let's escape to another world, you know, and connect with people across the world. It's awesome. I really, if you look at the technologies too, they're developing these like haptic feedback. What I want one day is Ready Player One. I want the Oasis. But they have these like gloves that Facebook are working on where you like grab things and it has like feedback where it feels like you're holding that, like you can't crush an apple, you know what I mean? So you'd have that resistance. That's really cool.
Supposedly the new PSVR 2 controllers are supposed to be pretty rad. That's what people are saying. So
I can't wait.
But yeah, to be able to have like the haptic gloves and stuff would be really cool.
Right.
But yep, we'll see. We'll see what the price is too on the PSVR.
What do you real quick before we switch? What do you feel about AR? Because we got VR and we have AR, and I really like both, honestly. Where like AR could have applications and you know on-screen effects to your glasses or whatever. Like we got these Ray-Bans with the pictures in them and stuff. And you imagine having like an onboard display that overlaid your world. Like that's pretty cool.
Rafa, is that a Mandalorian helmet over there? Is that?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
I got to work on getting his armor.
Awesome. But I got Grogu in the corner over here. And then my wife thought it was hilarious to hide
50 ducks around the house, and I have found most of them.
Are they all numbered?
She should have. That would have been great because I'm just counting up. Like, how many did she get?
Yeah, you'll find them. My cat loves the caps to my Soylent drinks that I drink. She loves to chase them or whatever. And when I moved from my other place to here, every piece of furniture I would pick up, there's like 20 caps. Like they were everywhere. But
we had a dog growing up that would do that. They would push food into a corner, like push little pebbles of the food. And so when we moved, there was like little pebbles of food in every. I'm like, this dog's a survivalist. Like it'll survive without food for weeks.
Yeah,
little snacks around the house.
You gotta be prepared, man.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Well, let me ask this: what are we in February? I was like, what month?
Yeah, right.
We're in February. We've already had like a crazy 5-week start, and we've got some big games coming up. Is there something you're interested? Like, what are your games you're most excited about this year? Either just personally or streaming. Yeah, right now.
Well, I'll tell you one that just came out is Dying Light 2. I'm having a lot of fun with that. That's a great co-op game, and it's just got a lot of the gameplay loop is engaging where you're not feeling like you're repeating the same thing over and over. And I like the parkour system. It's so great. And another one, like we were talking about earlier, Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, but Forbidden West, yeah.
Further than that, like until we start seeing like these shows where they release like, hey, this game is going to launch, because we're still seeing so many delays from COVID. I think this year is going to be a fantastic year for gaming, but we're still seeing some titles slip into next year already. And then the games that did come out, we're seeing their content plans are getting slid later and later. We got Battlefield, and that kind of is in this trouble right now. And then their content was going to be March, which was already 3 months since launch, 4 months, and now it's summer. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I want to be excited for games, but I'm just like, when do you get excited for them? Because they may not come out right.
Yeah, you don't want to get too excited and then get hurt.
Yeah.
And hey, gentlemen, I don't mean to interrupt one more time, but I got another question from the Lone Gilly. He wasn't too sure how good of a question this is, but I think the opposite. He was wondering if in the future you guys would ever do classes like you would try to teach others how to become a Facebook or Twitch content creator, something similar to like Stone Mountain 64 is what example he gave.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Actually, in 2 weeks, I have to double check. I'm going to have Katie on, who has been streaming and doing Instagram for years and years. She's our artist at Multivarious, so we're going to talk a lot about that, as well as I don't know where you're located, but come to GDEX. It's June 8th through 12th. We always have sessions on content creation, YouTubing, streaming. We did one last year about like just the basic equipment setup that you would want to have and software. yeah, I think it might be cool to do some more online classes that we could just like save to YouTube or something. Alex,
Yeah.
you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. No, that's a great idea. With Stone Mountain, you see these streamers do those packages where you can get in and get trained on how to do it. And one thing that you were saying is, if you can, come to GDEX if you're local, or if you can travel to Columbus, come to GDEX because there's with this kind of field, everything's always evolving. There's new technologies, new gadgets coming out, better ways to be more efficient, that kind of thing. So like, personally, I've made videos in the past on my YouTube, but it's been a while, and I've only done this for a handful of years. So I'm always like judging that, like, do I know enough to really teach anyone? But you do, you just don't realize it. So every now and then I make a video, but yeah, it's a great way to share your knowledge with someone else. But yeah, come to GDEX if you can, because it's a great way to learn something like that in person. You can ask questions. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and if there's streamers and YouTubers that you like, many of them have they will do a video about like here is my streaming setup,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see a lot of repeating things like Blue Yeti mics, or that's the one I'm using, are
Yeah, me
often
too.
used. It's very common. OBS is a streaming software you hear a lot, but there's lots of Elgato is a big one in the streaming world. Capture cards. I think my green screen's an Elgato.
Oh, did you get the one
Yeah,
that folds out?
yeah, the
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
folds out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I normally have it set up, but uh, it's yeah, it's how do I phrase this? It's one of those things where it's like you feel like once you've got a great setup, it works, and then something changes and like screws. Even on this
Right.
show, like we've got it set up, and sometimes like the audio just doesn't work for whatever reason, and so getting some of those bugs nailed out in your process so that you can kind of get started, which is back to the first thing we talked about. That's one of the things I like about using the PlayStation is generally I just have to push a button. I have another Blue Yeti hooked up to my PlayStation so I can get better sound quality than like a headset or whatever. And it's a lot easier than routing everything through your computer, hoping your computer doesn't crash. Or I mean, even was it last week, Lucas? We were trying to create a copy straight to the hard drive and like stream. So we were streaming it while copying, making and it just didn't copy to the hard drive. And we're like, cool.
Yeah, no, it didn't work. I gotta forget this time though.
Technology is great until it doesn't work as it's supposed to, and then that drives me nuts.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing too is that there's a lot of logistics if you are. So, for example, this we just broadcast a stream. I pull it down. I'll put it up on YouTube. I'll do some video editing. Anything that I'm pushing through my PlayStation goes up to Twitch, and then I can usually just throw it over to YouTube if I want to. Because once you start doing a lot of recordings, putting it on your hard drive, doing video editing, like your hard drive space is going to fill up real quick. And then now all of a sudden you're juggling external hard drives, or you're putting stuff on like Google Drive, and you got to keep expanding that out. It's really easy to eat hard drive space when you're doing video work.
Right, and as your quality increases, then it takes more size on your hard drives, and
yeah. I did make the switch. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stream at 60 FPS, but I'm still keeping it at 1080p. I'm not gonna do 4K streaming because I was like, do we really need right now? Do we really need to push?
Right,
because the file sizes are gigantic.
Yeah,
4K 60 FPS. Like, come on now. Come on. Yeah, so I think that's a great question. Yeah, thanks for asking. I pulled up the list just for fun because you mentioned so Dying Light 2. I got a key for my PS5 for that, so I actually downloaded it. I haven't played it yet. That's my homework for this weekend is to play that. Dynasty Warriors 9 is coming out. Every time a Dynasty Warriors game comes out, I always look at it because I loved it as a kid. But then I never buy it or do anything.
I was gonna say I haven't gotten it. I know friends that are in Dynasty. I'll tell you one that were probably on your list. Elden Ring. Is that on your list? I appreciate the hell out of it, but I'm so scared of those games. I'm like, it's so hard though. It's so hard. Like I can't. I played Bloodborne, and the first werewolf you're supposed to die to, I fought him for 45 minutes, and then died to him. And I was like, I'm done with this game. I'm done.
Oh, you should have just let him kill you. Then you.
I know. I didn't know that. I was like dodging everything, slapping him, and then he killed me anyways. I was like, is this how this game works? This is punishment.
I really like From Software. I think they're a great company. They make amazing stuff, but you have to be, I think, in a particular mindset to play those games. I still have Dark Souls 3, which I own, that I haven't played yet because I just like just not ready for it. You know,
Yeah.
you got to be ready to have your face smashed into the ground. But yeah, one of my friend who's new into the gaming scene, Elden Ring, he bought pre-ordered it, and I'm very curious how that game is going to be. Are they going to try to make it a little more accessible? You know, a little. I hesitate to say easier, but
Right.
you know, if you're not familiar with From Software games, have fun.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who's playing through all of them right now, and he's saying Demon Souls was really good. The remake of that was just gorgeous.
Yeah, I've been working on that. I've never beaten the original Demon Souls, so
yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo seems kind of cool.
I'm really interested about that. Yeah, that's very cool.
Supposedly Chrono Cross is being remade, and it's supposed to be out this year. Well, yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
And of course, God of War. I mean,
yes. Oh, how could I forget that? Of course, that's gonna be huge when it comes out.
Yeah,
I know PC just got their hands on the first one, and seeing the creation, the mods.
Yeah, I think God of War is my game of the year that like I'm most excited to play right now. And then I think they mentioned, I don't believe this, but Starfield for Xbox supposedly is coming out this year. I don't know if I believe it. I know, and Breath of the Wild was supposed to, but I think that might have gotten pushed back already.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild too. So yeah, I'm with you. I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff coming out in these first 3 months, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I know there's a lot of potential. This could be an amazing year, but I keep seeing like titles. Oh, such and such moved to 2023, and I'm like, And then the games like I said that did launch that managed to get out, they're struggling to get their content.
And hey, gentlemen, I actually
stuff's changing so much. So
hey, sorry to interrupt one more time. I actually have a question for you, a little quick question. So a fan was actually wondering if they would get to see you guys co-stream in the future because they found you quite entertaining and y'all seemed like you were like magic and stuff like that. So
I love it.
Yeah, I'd be down. Yeah, if you want to invite me on your show sometime, I'll be happy to play. I have not played any of those first-person shooters in a long time, so
we're going to Rebirth.
Yeah, I would probably be like, I mean, I've been playing games a long time. I'm pretty good, so I could probably figure it out. But
yeah, I'm down for that. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, so we're getting a little close on time, but I just sort of wanted to. Well, first of all, thanks for being on the show again.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
It's exciting, and I want to ask you, what are you in your endeavors, like just personally in your projects? What are you looking forward to this year? Anything new you want to try?
Yeah, I've got 2 things I started this year with. I'd love to figure out how to incorporate more VR content to my channel because that's one area that I haven't streamed or uploaded a whole lot of. And the other thing I want to do is upgrade my knowledge in audio, which is great because I was talking earlier, and Lucas and I were talking about his background in audio. But when you're a content creator these days, you wear so many freaking hats. You got to be your own social media manager, your own content creator, your own editor, everything. So I think audio, maybe upgrading from USB. I don't know. We were speaking about that. Content or things are always changing. A new platform for equipment came out, Beacon. Did you see anything about Beacon? They've got a whole new line of USB mics and mixers and all this kind of stuff. But maybe investing a little more in that. Like, I feel like I've got a good base here, and I'd like to keep making the content, I always think about the user experience for the content. Does it grab your attention? Is it pleasing? Does everything sound good? Nothing's too loud. Nothing's too quiet. That kind of thing. So I think that's where I'm going to go with the channel and keep doing what I'm doing. Maybe incorporate some VR and then just better the skills.
Cool. Yeah. If you if you want to post like a link to the Beacon stuff you're talking about in the Discord chat, that could be cool for folks to look at.
It just launched this week, so I guess what it is 2 leads from the studio Go XLR, those guys that's founded that. Split off and made Beacon.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I like the Yeti mics. They've been good, but they're just sort of standard. They're really good intro mics where they're for the price, the quality is excellent. But if you're ready to take like a more sort of advanced step, there's probably some other options. And I think there are some. I think Blue has some more expensive microphones if you want to get in that. But that is exciting, man. Well, we're getting close. We're gonna wrap up here. How can people how can people find you? Like, where should folks go to learn more about you and to follow your stream and your content?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right here, MrM3lee89. I'm on
Just show up
Facebook.
to your house.
Yeah, yeah. MrM3lee89 everywhere social. You can find me on Facebook because where I live stream 3 days a week, and then you can find me on TikTok. And we have a Discord as well, the Columbus Gaming Community. If you're looking for a gaming community, go join it. It's on Facebook. We also have a Discord where we watch movies. It's a good time. Check it out.
Well, how's the TikTok world? I haven't ventured into there.
It's crazy. Like I said, I just posted another video. There's a video with a trend where you have really I have natural bags in my eyes, but
Yeah,
they have they have a filter, that gives you really sleepy eyes. And I was joking about Dying Light 2 coming out, how I got sucked in. I was like, I'm gonna play this for like an hour and then I'm gonna go to bed. And then like 6 hours later, I'm like, it's 5 a.m. I gotta go to bed. And so like I posted that and it did really well, and then you post content and it doesn't do so well. So they recently had an outage where they were down for like 2 hours and I couldn't post anything. It was driving me nuts. And I was like, what is going on? But yeah, it's a great world. It's full of inspiration, honestly. And yeah, I've learned so much stuff from TikTok, just short videos, man. That's great.
How much time do you think you spend just doing the sort of logistics and promo and content, like not the actual streaming and stuff, but just getting content ready and assets and all that?
So I average about 4.5 hours or 4 hours per stream. So that's like what, 12 hours a week. That's just in the stream. The content preparation, editing videos, like tracking it down, and the time in video, it's easily double that most weeks. Like it can be up to 30 hours and that's what I mean. It's like a full-time, part-time. I got my own business, then this is supposed to be a hobby, but it's becoming my part-time job, keeping up with everything because you want to sprinkle a little everywhere. And that's what I was saying. My YouTube video that just came out, it was made by a Fiverr editor, and it was so dirt cheap to do that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna ship that service out. You can just do all my videos. Yeah, that's one less thing on my plate. I love it.
Totally. Yeah, and you do have kids and a wife too that I want to see you occasionally. So.
Yeah, I know exactly. She's like, I'd like some time with you if that's okay. I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
That's okay.
Let me how's
next controller?
Next Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot, but if you love what you're doing, if you're passionate about it, and you can kind of, just like everything else, right? You got to keep it in check, got to set your priorities. So, well, man, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show. Feel free to invite me to yours if you want. I'd be down. Just give me a heads up on what I need to practice before I jump in.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you everybody for watching the Volpe Creates show. This is our weekly show every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm your host, Chris. Lucas, how you doing over there? Awesome. I would say bye from baby, but she wanted to go take a nap somewhere. So actually, my cat's right there. So, but thank you all for watching. Remember, you can follow us at Volpe Creates on all the social media as well. The Twitters, the Facebooks, YouTubes, and the Twitches. And then volpecreates.com/Discord to join our Discord community. And other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week.
Hey everyone, just wanted to again say thank you for joining us tonight. Feel free to follow us on all our social media pages, give us a like, follow, subscribe, do all that. But we'll hope to see you next time. Have a good one.